Furthermore, why did God specifically name the first man Adam? The name Adam is derived from Strong's H119, Adam, meaning to show blood in the face, i.e. to flush or turn rosy. Blushing is a hot red flushing of the cheeks unique to white people when they feel humility, shame or embarrassment, and is often associated with the inability to hold the head up and bear another's gaze. Even Darwin described blushing as the most peculiar and most human of all expressions. So what is God telling us here? That Adam could show blood in the face, could blush, had rosy cheeks. In that case, what would Eve look like, who was from Adam, and what would all their descendants look like? Is it not obvious to what Christ would look like? Throughout the Bible, we see the Israelites commonly described as being ruddy in their appearance. The word ruddy, similar to Adam, means when a white person has a red color, suggesting good health, a rosy complexion, and is associated with blushing or showing blood in the face. In the book of Samuel, we read that when Samuel discovered a young David, he was described as ruddy, with a beautiful countenance and goodly to look at. In other words, he was healthy looking with bright red rosy cheeks. David is again described this way in his duel with Goliath, ruddy with a fair countenance, so that's twice. David's son Solomon in the Songs of Solomon is also described as white and ruddy. It does not get more clearer than that. Since Christ descended from both David and Solomon, would he not resemble them? Would he not also be white and ruddy? Another word often used is fair, which is an Old English adjective meaning to have pale skin or pale yellow golden hair. So fair means light, such as a light white skin complexion, white to rosy red skin, beautiful and pleasing to the eye. In Genesis we read that the sons of God, the angels, saw the daughters of men, Adamites, that they were fair, and they took them wives, all of which they chose. In the book of Job we read, and in all the land there were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job. And in Daniel we read that Daniel and his friends, at the end of 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh. In Acts we read, in which time Moses was born and was exceeding fair. And back to Songs of Solomon, thou art all fair, my love, there is no spot in thee. Is it not obvious? If all these Israelites were fair, then so was Christ. He must have been white with fair skin. So what was the earliest artwork of Christ and the apostles like? How were they depicted? Looking at the early pictures from churches, monasteries, caves and catacombs, it's clear that Christ was always known to be white. The earliest known images are around the 3rd and 4th century. Initially he had no beard with short hair, but later on the images began to add a thick beard and longer hair. Modern images often tend to follow this today. Early depictions you can also clearly see the apostles were white, just like Christ. There are numerous pictures of Paul and John, as well as Peter and his brother Andrew. There have been attempts to deliberately Photoshop or alter pictures to show a different narrative. So what did Christ look like? Is it not pretty clear from all the evidence? We must remember the apostles travelled to Europe exclusively, and there was never any doubt that they were white. The land around Judea and northern Africa was a white civilization. Only after the Arab conquest, 700 years later, did that permanently change forever. And this is how Christ and the apostles were white. But the people now living in those lands 2,000 years later are not.